Not long ago, Charlie Kirk predicted Elon Musk and President Trump would work together again for the good of the country. I believe that has begun. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett slanders MAGA voters, saying they are the most unpatriotic Americans in our country. Benny Johnson gives inside details about a secret meeting, and the truth about autism is beginning to come out. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. There's a lot, so let's jump right in. Earlier today, I did a breakdown video about the mysterious missing bullet found in Charlie Kirk's body. Go check that out. It's very, very interesting. I'm not going to go through it again. The day before, I walked the entire crime scene as if I was Tyler Robinson, and I point out a lot of inconsistencies that are being reported on YouTube, Rumble, and X. It was really interesting, so go check that one out as well. Okay, during the Charlie Kirk situation, we saw all of our government leaders at the memorial. Well, Kash Patel has finally made a public comment. A lot of people have been critical of him, saying that he is not communicating enough. And what he said today may not even satisfy, but this is what he had to say. As the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of the assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confusion and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate moment. Regarding specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site, we can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. The entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. We will not rest until justice is served, and our investigation into the assassination will continue until every question is answered. So that may or may not be satisfying, but he's basically saying behind the scenes, we are investigating everything from conspiracy theory to known facts, and we just need time. But right now, our focus is on the justice side. And so he's basically asking for people to be patient. And in the meantime, I'm going to continue to investigate. But I kind of figured that we had moved from crime scene to conviction, and that's why they're being quiet. I had Judge Joe Brown on, and he confirmed the same thing. He said, in fact, the FBI doesn't care what you care about. They don't even care about the slander or the gossip. At this point, they are fully so focused on sending this guy to jail or putting him in front of the firing squad. So anyway, I wanted to let you guys know. Now, even though it's good to hear from Director Kash Patel, it would be nice to have more details. Like, for example, during my walkthrough, I pointed out several cameras that are directly pointed at Charlie Kirk and the shooter. Why don't we have that footage? My guess is it will be shown to us at some point, but right now, the FBI is hanging on to as much as they can. Now, I watched every minute of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. It was touching and profound. One thing I saw that was encouraging was President Trump and Elon Musk laughing and talking. And now we know what they talked about, what Elon Musk said to President Trump, as well as Erica Kirk. And it was profound. I'm just going to go ahead and let Benny Johnson explain, since he was right there.
All the cabinet secretaries got to see a lot. Elon Musk came by a couple times. And I just want to use Elon Musk as a example of the power of Charlie's legacy. Elon Musk and Donald Trump had a bit of a falling out. Maybe you've heard of it. And that sucked, especially for guys like Charlie, who were coalition builders. Charlie Kirk was thanked on stage by Donald Trump himself for bringing together RFK Jr. and MAHA movement. Donald Trump says, Charlie created MAHA. I don't think Charlie ever will get the credit that he deserves for doing that. But also, Charlie Kirk brought together massive coalitions of, well, at any Turning Point event, you can find Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and Tucker Carlson sharing the same stage, right? Maybe not together, but they're all there, right? To give an opportunity to project their worldview, right? Charlie was constantly doing that, constantly bridging gaps, constantly fusing together, because he realized that if we don't hang together, we will surely hang separately, which is exactly what Elon Musk told me. So backstage, Elon Musk embraces Erica Kirk, and she's crying in his arms, and they're hugging, and it's really profound. This was after the speeches. This was after the program. And this is the words that Elon Musk said to us in this small little group with Erica Kirk. And he said, like, this is why I was proud to sit with my president. That's what he called Trump, my president today. He accepted Trump's invitation to go up there. And the majority of the event, Elon Musk sitting there with Donald Trump, chewing it up. Everyone can see here's the photos of Elon embracing Erica. And then there are photos of Elon with Trump, and they seem to be having a great time. Dana White also there. What not only was the size and scope of this and the peacefulness of it a profound eulogy for Charlie and his memory, but the cornerstone of it all, to unite the world's most powerful, richest private civilian with the world's most powerful public figure, Donald Trump. Charlie said, in this chair right here, he hoped that it happened. There's a clip that went viral yesterday. Charlie saying, I pray that Elon Musk and Donald Trump reconcile. And they did so at Charlie's funeral in Charlie's memory. A profound and beautiful example of what Charlie constantly was doing for our movement. And he fused together the greatest schism that we've seen in the nascent Trump administration. He just fixed Trump and Elon together. We saw it live. And it's like the power of Charlie crying out. I mean, after death, crying out, and like still the power of Charlie, like bringing together these tectonic forces that should not reconcile. These are two stubborn men. These are two men that don't need each other, honestly. But Elon Musk told me this. He hugs Erica Kirk. He looks to all of us and he goes, if we don't hang it together, we will surely hang separately. So let us unite. I was proud to sit with my president tonight. That's what Elon told us. That's what Elon told us backstage. Wow. And so
very profound. He said, I'm proud to sit with my president at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. But what he said to Erica Kirk was really profound. If we don't hang together, if we don't stick together as MAGA, if we don't hang together, we will surely hang apart, meaning the Democrats will come for us. They will try to rip us apart. They are powerful. I mean, just look, Jimmy Kimmel is getting his show back. And it wasn't because President Trump asked somebody to remove him. It was because sponsors said, we will not sponsor somebody lying on national TV and causing division. But he's getting his show back. So they are popular. But Elon Musk said, we must hang together or we will surely hang apart. I thought that was incredibly profound. For you, I went and found the video of Charlie Kirk predicting that President Trump and Elon Musk would come back together. I hope and pray that this happens.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch today and unfortunate in some regards. And I love your take, which is both of these men deserve great credit for their contributions to help save civilization. Elon Musk bought Twitter, which of course became X a couple years ago, which liberated speech. And then of course, President Trump built the most amazing political movement we've ever seen. He was shot, almost shot again. He was impeached twice. He was facing 700 years in federal prison. And he was so clear about not surrendering and not backing down and not giving up. I will say it's a tough thing to watch, this public feud. I actually think they're going to reconcile at some point, though, because deep down, I would like to believe they both want the same thing.
Charlie, come on, man. Make this happen. When Trump and Elon Musk were working together, it was my favorite part of the Trump administration. They were dismantling the deep state, dismantling the Democrat Party, bringing money back home, cutting out the wasteful spending. For me, it was a great thing. Maybe you guys see it differently, but I thought these are two patriots leading a whole group of patriots together. But now, over on the Gavin Newsom podcast, some people are saying it was Joe Rogan, but that's wrong. It was actually on Gavin Newsom's podcast. We have Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett telling half the country that voted for Donald Trump that they are not patriotic, that they are the worst of America, and that only Democrats are true patriots. Let's go ahead and watch this together.
You can wave all the flags you want to, but I am telling you right now that the most unpatriotic people that we have in this country are MAGA and this president. We are the real patriots, and it is time for us to take our flag back and show people what America is about. You can't say that you love the Constitution while decimating it with every single stroke of a pen for an executive order, while decimating it, while you are disrespecting our troops that have signed up to protect our freedoms, not just here, but abroad. And then you're taking people's freedoms away using those exact same troops.
MAGA voters are the most unpatriotic, and that the Democrats like Gavin Newsom and herself, they are the only true patriots. I just don't believe it. Okay, during the Charlie Kirk Memorial, we heard President Trump and his ongoing focus of making America healthy again. Specifically, this announcement that partially ties autism, potential autism, to acetaminophen. He announced that there will be a press conference. As of right now, that hasn't happened, but we have a special guest coming on here in just a minute. Dr. Oz says that they are doing some of the deepest science and research that we've done in a long time, and that they will get to the bottom of autism. But they believe that it is connected to acetaminophen during pregnancy, during breastfeeding, giving it to children. Our body literally can't digest it very well. And so that's just one thing that they are looking into. But I have now a special guest, Mary Holland, to join me. Mary, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to get your thoughts on this. And by the way, Mary Holland is a lawyer. She's the leading voice for health freedom. She's been working with RFK Jr. for many, many years, CEO of Children's Health Defense. I saw last week, we got a little bit with the Charlie Kirk. It seemed like there was no other news in the conservative world, but I did see this decision from ACIP, the Vaccine Advisory Board, and they voted 12-0 to not universally recommend the COVID vaccine anymore, just because of what they're seeing in the data. What were your thoughts on that? And what is your conclusion on why they're no longer universally recommending that?
Well, Stephen, it's great news that they've moved from a universal recommendation to individual choice. Our view, Stephen, is that the COVID shots have been shown to be extraordinarily injurious and deadly. There are tens of thousands of reports of death, over 30,000, and there's over 1.5 million reports of injury in the vaccine adverse event reporting system. We do not believe that that product should be on the market at this point. It should, from our perspective, it should be taken off the market and further research should be done. And we should not be putting out new mRNA shots, because it has not worked in a way that is in any way consistent with any prior vaccines that have ever been reported for adverse events to the VAERS system. But that said, to move from a universal recommendation to individual decision-making is great news. I hope, Stephen, that the medical professionals and the pharmacists are really fully cognizant of that. And that will take some education. And candidly, I don't know that the pharmaceutical industry, that has such a big role in medical education and in pharmacy education, is really going to be explaining that they have to take really detailed information about risk factors and basically not recommend it to everybody. So I think the proof will be in the pudding. The good news from our perspective, given how injurious this shot is that very few people are taking them at this point. It's under 15% for everybody. It's even lower than that for children. So that's sort of the good news, is that in effect, the CDC is catching up with the public.
If you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county recorder, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property, and you don't know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. So when's the last time you checked your home's title? If your answer is never, you need to do something about it right now. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Gardner at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring on your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com and use promo code Gardner. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Gardner. Okay. I did see this. A CDC report showed that they have to give 1.1 million shots to healthy people to avoid one COVID death. That to me screams like you don't need it. Natural immunity, getting this, allowing your body's defense system, like 1.1 million shots to save one person seems crazy, because to get for those 1.1 million, there are health risk adverse, health issues where they could end up with myocarditis or swelling testicles, or their nervous system attacks itself. Your thoughts on that CDC information?
100% correct. I'm glad that they're honest about it. It's called the number needed to treat. And if you need to treat 1.1 million to save one life, that's a theoretical model. And as you just pointed out, we know that the adverse events, including for myocarditis in boys and young men, is a much higher number than 1 in 1 million. So children do not need COVID shots, full stop. And in my view, these are very dangerous shots. I would not recommend them to anyone. So it's at least a step in the right direction what ACIP did on that.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that this seems to affect males more than females. That seems to be the case with autism. I know you guys study this extensively. Why are males more prone to autism than females?
Yeah, well, on the COVID shots, it's related to myocarditis. And I can't really tell you in that. In autism, I mean, in some ways, men are XY chromosomes, women are XX. Or in a certain way, women's, genetic makeup is a bit more, there's more redundancy. There's more, there's more sort of robustness in a certain way. But for boys and autism, one of the factors that we've looked at quite a bit is the toxicity of mercury and the toxicity of aluminum. And it just turns out that testosterone, particularly with mercury, where there's quite a bit of science on that, it's just devastating, right? And so boys are 4 to 8 times more likely to come down with an autism diagnosis. But that doesn't mean that girls don't get autism too. They do. And one of the things I learned from a practitioner many years ago is it's harder for girls to get into autism, but it's also harder to recover girls from autism than boys. A lot of boys are diagnosed with autism, and there's many, many examples of overcoming that diagnosis through a whole variety of treatments.
Okay, that's really interesting. There's a gentleman by the name of Scott Adams. He wrote, he did a comic book column for a long time, and unfortunately, he's got prostate cancer that has metastasized into his bones. And he did an interview just last week where he said the pain was so bad that he was literally considering going to Canada to be euthanized. But he said then this doctor tried this thing where they put him on a testosterone blocker, and all that pain went away. So that's really interesting that
Wow.
that
That's
you would
really
bring up the
interesting too.
testosterone. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? They're saying this isn't the end of what causes autism, but we are looking into this. But right now, there was a study out from Johns Hopkins saying that women, mothers who take acetaminophen during pregnancy, they have a 3 times higher likelihood of a child with autism or ADHD. Does this have to do with like the formation of the brain or the spinal column, or what? Why do you think acetaminophen may play a role in autism?
Well, what we do know, Stephen, is that acetaminophen is toxic to the liver, and babies do not have fully developed livers. They don't have a fully developed metabolism. And so there are a number of chemicals that babies simply cannot metabolize. And basically it poisons the body, including if it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it can inflame and poison the brain. And basically when we talk about autism, what autism is it is a toxic exposure that's causing brain injury. We've got to move away from this very vague term of autism that covers all kinds of things to what this really is, which is a form of brain injury. And a lot of different chemical exposures, a lot of different medications, vaccines can lead to diagnoses of autism. That's unequivocal. And so I believe that the Tylenol is an issue of metabolism. What we do know so far, and as I say, we're doing some basic research on this ourselves right now in a rat model. We know that prenatally, infants or rat pups, their mothers can help them detoxify. When it's most toxic is when it's a neonate, when it's a very, very young infant, because their livers cannot detoxify this chemical. And then a little bit less so when they're sort of toddler age. But I'm hoping that this truth started coming out in 2008. I'm happy to see they're talking about a Johns Hopkins study. They're very much in mainstream medicine. This is kind of understood. And so this is a cofactor. This, I do not believe, is the driving factor of what's causing the autism epidemic that is now 1 in 31 of 8-year-olds in this country. But it certainly could be a very significant contributing factor.
Okay. I found this morning. This is international, but it said in 2024, JAMA did a study of 2.4 million Swedish children showing 15 to 20% higher absolute risk of autism and ADHD with prenatal acetaminophen exposure. So, I mean, that's a pretty large study.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to react to a video. This is journalist Laura Loomer, and she has on author Gardner Harris. He has a book called No More Tears. She says something really interesting, or he rather says something really interesting about Tylenol and autism. Let's watch this and then we'll react together.
How many children do you think have gotten autism or ADHD from prenatal Tylenol exposure from their mothers taking Tylenol while they were pregnant?
So I simply do not know that number and can't give you an estimate. I am not a scientist. But one of the really interesting things, Laura, is in these moments, 1982 Tylenol poisoning scare. There was another poisoning scare in 1986. If you look at the increase in the autism diagnoses, when Tylenol came off the market during those brief scares, autism diagnoses suddenly flattened out. So there has been this really interesting, environmental study where we can see that when the public is uneasy about the safety of Tylenol, autism diagnoses stop going up. Nearly 70% of pregnant women in the United States are estimated to take Tylenol at some point in their pregnancies. It is a huge increase over the numbers in the 1970s. Bobby Kennedy is right. Autism diagnoses have been going up steadily. Tylenol is not the only thing. Obviously, the increasing age of fathers, the older a father is, the more likely their child will be autistic. There are multiple factors going into this increase in autism, but I think for most women, when I talk to them and I tell them that there are studies that link Tylenol and autism, they wish they had known that information when they were pregnant.
Kind of very, very interesting, right? Like
Yeah.
when I first heard that, this was over a month ago, I was like, that's a really interesting correlation. When there was the Tylenol scare and everybody stopped taking it, the autism numbers went down. It's almost like saying, when I stopped watering my grass, it turned yellow. And then I started watering again and it went green again. I don't know. What's your reaction to that?
Well, that's a natural experiment. It's called like challenge, re-challenge. So that's very interesting. I'd like to see the data on that. You know, did the autism diagnoses drop immediately, or was there like a 9-month or a 12-month kind of lag time? It'd be very interesting to analyze that. But as he said, it's not the only factor. He mentioned older fathers. Well, we might be able to explain that older fathers have been exposed to more toxins, right? Their sperm has been, exposed to a lot more toxicity in the environment. So I think what we do know is toxic exposures, both prenatally and postnatally, can lead to brain injury that we call autism. And I'm very grateful that the president and the secretary of HHS, Bobby Kennedy, are very serious that this is a national security issue. 1 in 31 8-year-olds having autism is unsustainable as a country, and we've got to get to the bottom of this. Tylenol is not the only answer, but it may be the beginning of a process, and that's good news.
Yeah, I agree. Even today, Tylenol is panicking. They immediately put out a press release. We don't cause autism. We've, of course, studied this. It's considered one of America's safest medications. Well, we know medication has messed people up many times. So more needs to come out on that. And as it does, we will have you back on. Mary, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, going back to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She says that Democrats are the real patriot and that MAGA is the most unpatriotic. Well, one of President Trump's U.S. attorneys, he has a different take on that. And I tend to agree with him. Let's go ahead and react to this together, because I do believe that we are the true patriots.
Can you just talk about the threat level right now against elected officials, against ICE officers, against people that are conservatives right now?
It's higher than ever. I was in the legislature before. It was just commonplace to receive threats. It's just become part of what's expected. But our agents, our men and women who did not sign up to run for office, they signed up to protect our communities, don't deserve this. Assaults against them are up over 1,000%. We filed almost 100 cases for either assault or interference. And the left continues to fuel this insanity, hysteria, that the federal government is somehow an illegitimate force and it's okay to oppose ICE. So what they do is they lay the gasoline and the matches out and they get people spun up and they hope that someone does what they want them to do, which is burn the place down because they can't get their way. And we're not putting up with it. And if you try that here, you'll end up in handcuffs.
All right. There you hear it. I mean, I had Lindy Lee, former top advisor to Kamala Harris, on my show. She's now a Republican. Her eyes were open. She told me they purposely use aggressive rhetoric in order to get people agitated, hoping that one of their voters will go out and do physical harm to somebody. And now you have a top U.S. attorney in the Trump administration saying it's like they lay out the gas and the matches, hoping that somebody will actually go burn places down as they burn it down in the media. As they go out, they get their wild clicks saying that we are the worst of the worst, that we are the Nazis, that we are the party of Hitler. It's actually very, very destructive. But gratefully, ICE is doing a lot of great stuff. President Trump is doing a lot of great stuff. He also committed to going into Chicago as well as Memphis, Tennessee. Now, earlier today, President Trump announced a key nomination for the Justice Department. He nominated Lindsay Halligan, a senior White House aide and longtime attorney in his legal circle, to be the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia and replace Eric Seibert. Trump praised Halligan on Truth Social, calling her tough, smart, and loyal attorney who is extremely intelligent, fearless, and has the strength and determination to be absolutely outstanding in this new and very important role. So she's going to work alongside Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. So this is a big deal. Now, Halligan previously represented President Trump after the Mar-a-Lago raid. So she knows what she is up against. And she's been putting pressure for charges on Letitia James for the documented mortgage fraud that she committed. So this is a big deal. Now, one other thing that I didn't get to report on here that I want to report is that President Trump publicly is pressuring Attorney General Pam Bondi, saying, why aren't there more arrests? Some of these people, Adam Schiff, Letitia James, others, there's documented evidence that they committed crimes. You're embarrassing us and ruining our reputation. Let's get going. So President Trump knows that these people have committed crimes. He knows that the Justice Department needs to go after them, and he is now upping the pressure on Attorney General Pam Bondi to take action. Get off Fox News, stop using lip service, and start physically bringing charges. I hope that she will. Otherwise, I think she might be the first person that President Trump fires, because he knows going into the midterms, there has to be justice. There has to be accountability. All right, Patriots, I know that you guys are the true Patriots. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos, supporting the channel. At the end of this, go watch the video about me walking the crime scene of the Charlie Kirk killing, as well as today's earlier video where I explain how the bullet ended up found in Charlie Kirk's body. I love you guys. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.